Behold how good it is, and how pleasant when brethren dwell in unity.
This week's Torah portion covers Numbers 19:1 to 22:1. The most famous episode in the Torah portion is Moses hitting the rock after the Israelites cry for water, and he is forbidden from ever entering the Promised Land. There are 101 interpretations for why exactly God punished Moses so severely for what seemed to be a trivial mistake. However, I'm not going there today, and instead I want to focus on the beginning of the Torah portion. Numbers 19 starts out with God instructing Moses and Aaron on the law of the red heifer. According to the law, a red heifer must be found which has no blemish or defect and has never borne a yoke. After slaughtering the perfect red heifer, its blood was to be sprinkled 7 times near the tabernacle. It was to be burned with cedar wood, hyssop, and crimson, and the ashes were carefully preserved. If anyone in the community encountered death, they were declared unclean for 7 days. The only way to be purified was to go to the priest and be cleansed with the ashes on the 3rd and 7th days. If the person did not abide by the law of the red heifer, they would defile the tabernacle and be cut off from the community. Now, much of the law in the Torah has obvious benefits for the welfare of the community or personally or individuals, but there are certain types of laws that make no rational sense. They are these statutes with no explainable earthly purpose. These laws are called Hukkim, and they are about obedience. The prohibition against mixing milk and meat or blending wool and linen are examples of Hukkim. According to the rabbis, however, the law of the red heifer holds the crown as the most irrational of all the irrational statutes. The main message it seems to relay is that Yahweh is the God of life and not death. And on a practical level, the law prevented the Israelites from practicing ancestor worship at grave sites. According to rabbinical sources, even during the Roman occupation of Israel, the priests were teased by their overlords for the law of the red heifer, which they saw as primitive and superstitious. In temple times, the ashes of the red heifer were held in an urn called the kalal. To attain temple access, the faithful had to be sprinkled by the ashes of a red heifer. Without the ashes of the red heifer, Israel cannot reinstate temple worship and ritual sacrifice. Without the ashes, all Jews are technically in a state of ritual impurity, defiled by contact with death. There is no constructed temple today, so the issue was not pressed for almost 2 millennia. Nor did the issue of accessing the Temple Mount come up in 1948, because during Israel's War of Independence, Jordan's Arab Legion captured the Old City. Jewish residents were immediately expelled, and the Jordanian Waqf cemented their control over the Temple Mount and forbid Jews from accessing even the Western Wall. For 19 years, not a single Jewish person was granted rite of passage. On holidays, Israelis gazed at the Temple Mount through barbed wire. After the 6-Day War, a sense of messianism pulsated throughout the country. Israelis could hardly believe the reversal of their fate. Their small military simultaneously beat back Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. Emerging from the bewildering victory with twice the territory, a unified Jerusalem, and possession of the holy places, many Jewish people sensed that they had reached the end of their very long story. The chief rabbinate of Israel quickly threw cold water on any dreams of reviving pilgrimage to the Temple Mount. A warning was issued over the radio, hours after the Temple Mount's liberation, for Israelis to avoid the sacred enclosure. The reason given was because there are no ashes of the red heifer to purify Jews to enter the holy space. Suddenly, the statute or yoke, which had been a source of embarrassment for the priesthood even in Second Temple times, is once again up for debate and discussion. According to the chief rabbinate in Israel, only at the end of the Messianic process can a new red heifer be found and prepared for sacrifice. Still, there are those in the Temple Mount movement who are actively on the hunt for a red heifer, which checks off all the requirements. When I check Israeli news, there's part of me that always halfway expects the headline, "Red heifer without blemish identified in the Galilee." If the Roman overlords teased the Israelite priest for their heifer ritual, I can only imagine the scrutiny Israel would face in 2018. Even still, come quickly our Messiah. Shabbat Shalom.
Behold how good it is, and how pleasant when brethren dwell